Coming up, close to $6,000 worth of items stolen from a building on A&M's campus. We bring you more details ahead. Plus, domestic violence during pregnancy. Tonight, we're learning about a problem we often don't hear enough about. And we're mostly cloudy tonight with some rain chances sprinkled in as we go into tomorrow morning. What to be prepared for as we roll into the first week of May. Your KRHD News starts right now.
Connecting the Brazos Valley. This is KRHD News.
Garrett Hoddle, new tonight, close to $6,000, all worth of t-shirts and a piece of lab equipment stolen from two lab rooms in the Heap Laboratory building on A&M's campus. This is according to university police. The items were taken sometime between last Wednesday and today. Anyone with information regarding this crime should contact university police at 979-845-2345. Meanwhile, a Bryan man was sentenced to 25 years in prison, in part for assaulting his at the time pregnant girlfriend. 31-year-old Krhd News was convicted Thursday for two family violence related charges. Prosecutors presenting evidence from at least two incidents. The case was investigated by Bryan PD, College Station PD, and the Brazos County DA's office. Prosecutors in the case presenting testimony on the cycle of abuse in family relationships and the difficulty victims can have in reporting it. Well, on a related note, prosecutors also received help from Baylor Scott & White's forensic nursing program. They spoke on the dangers of strangulation, especially to a pregnant mother and her unborn child. Now, according to the National Coalition Against Domestic Violence, 20% of pregnant women experience violence during pregnancy. And that homicide is also the leading cause of death among pregnant women. If you or someone you know is a victim of domestic violence, remember there are resources. You can report incidents to the 24-hour domestic violence hotline, that number right there on your screen. Well, it's a story that's positively Brazos Valley. A College Station High School senior being called a hero by the American Stroke Association. KRHD reporter Rebecca Fiedler introduces us to Kyler Lewis, a very special person she says is bringing awareness to a condition he lives with today.
When College Station High School student Kyler Lewis suffered a stroke at the age of 15, he was confused and scared. Now, 2 years later, he has become a warrior for survivors of strokes, urging health education to protect other children. Life hasn't been the same for Kyler Lewis since a malformation of veins and arteries ruptured in his brain, holding him back from many of life's joys. But he's found a new passion in life because of his condition, helping others like him.
I feel the need that I need to talk to them and send them things because they're going through really hard times. Some of them can't talk, some of them can't walk. It's a very scary time, and I have to be there to hold their hand.
Lewis regularly communicates with other kids living with the same brain malformation. Unfortunately, some of his new friends have passed away, but he finds special ways to honor their memory. And his family are passionate about turning a scary diagnosis into something meaningful.
Let's focus on what we do have control over. Let's focus on trying to find research for a cure, and let's try to focus on reaching out and bringing about awareness and the importance of people to know that kids can have a stroke too.
Kyler's condition, also known as a brain AVM, is treatable but can be dangerous on a case-by-case basis. The Lewises want parents to be able to catch an issue like this before it results in hemorrhage.
Anytime a kid has a concussion, anytime a kid has a lot of headaches, the thing to do is demand an MRI. Have an MRI and get it checked out just so you know for sure that everything's okay.
Kyler plans to attend Blinn College and Texas A&M to become a pediatric nurse, dedicating his life to healing other children. These are just some of the reasons that the American Stroke Association selected him as their Pediatric Hero of the Year.
It was hard for me, very hard for me, and people have helped me become strong, and so I wanted to return the favor for all the kids and the adults that have done this for me.
Reporting in College Station, Rebecca Fiedler, KRHD News.
Well, it was a question raised today. Could Kyle Rittenhouse become an Aggie? It was all sparked after a social media post on his Instagram account. Rittenhouse, if you'll recall, gained attention after a jury acquitted him of charges all related to a protest shooting in Kenosha, Wisconsin just 2 years ago. Now on his Instagram, you can see he's seen in an oversized maroon chair with the A&M logo. The caption reading, ASU has been fun, but becoming an Aggie may be better. Now, KRHD News did reach out to the university. At this time, they say he has not officially enrolled. College Station police need your help. They're asking anyone with information regarding a shooting on Saturday night to please come forward. That shooting took place at an apartment on Cottage Lane, on Saturday evening around 8 o'clock. 2 people there were shot, both suffering minor injuries before being taken to a hospital. If you have any information, either as a witness or perhaps video evidence, please contact College Station PD, the number right there on your screen. Well, experts here at Texas A&M AgriLife say gardening has positive effects on our mental health. Studies showing that when you garden, you're not only improving your body by getting that sun and exercise, you're also improving your brain. Studies find gardening can reduce stress and anxiety, decrease depression, and even enhance our self-esteem.
Because they're nurturing for another living being, in this case, a plant, they transfer some of that, and so self-esteem generally rises while they're participating in gardening and landscaping. They're in better moods and less likelihood of depression.
Since the start of the pandemic, the National Garden Association has seen a huge jump in interest in gardening, with more than 18.5 million new gardeners. And you may want to plant some of this. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And scientists say that wisdom definitely applies to plants called extremophyte. The plants not only survive in places that would kill most other plants, they thrive in them. That includes areas that are extremely dry and cold, or even have high salt content. Well, in a related story to the outdoors, at this hour, millions are facing the threat of tornadoes in the Great Plains as critical fire danger intensifies in parts of the Southwest. Mike Valerio has more.
Nature's fury caught on camera while driving into the path of a violent EF3 tornado, tearing a path of destruction through neighborhoods, unleashing winds up to 165 miles an hour near Wichita, Kansas.
People have lost everything in their life, and they're coming and taking whatever they can.
An outbreak of at least 7 tornadoes turning deadly when 3 University of Oklahoma meteorology students were killed in a crash on their way back from a storm chasing trip in Kansas.
It's pretty shocking. I know we've got some really dedicated students here, but it's probably like the worst case scenario you could ever imagine.
On the heels of this, tornadoes touching down in Oklahoma Monday afternoon as a new threat of strong tornadoes and large hail looms over the Great Plains through Wednesday. And as May brings on peak tornado season in the Southwest,
we're in a very dangerous situation.
It's a race against time during peak wildfire season. Fueled by powerful wind gusts, the Hermit's Peak and Calf Canyon fire are evolving.
Today with that wind event, rapid rates of spread outpaced any of our production rates.
The fast-moving flames are now creeping dangerously close to the town of Las Vegas, New Mexico, where evacuation orders are now underway.
We've had some folks who are here staying in the shelter for the past 9 days or so. Yeah, it's really difficult for them.
I'm Mike Valerio reporting.
The First Lady will travel to Europe this week to learn more about the impact of the war in Ukraine. The White House says she will spend 5 days on a solo trip to several countries where refugees have escaped to. The war in Ukraine has been going on for more than 2 months now. And there's a new resource that's helping students make sense of what is happening in the ongoing refugee crisis.
We feel like our unique contribution to this conversation and to the way we can help support teachers and help them support their students is by really looking at the human component and really inspiring empathy among students.
The curriculum for teachers and middle and high school students from the nonprofit Facing History and Ourselves includes questions that are designed to get students talking and get an in-depth understanding of this war.
So it's really helping students think about what they're thinking, the emotions that they're feeling, and then sort of what's the action, what's taking place, and what else could be happening to help support a particular population.
They call that the Head, Heart, and Conscious model. It has seen 10,000 downloads so far of each of the 2 Ukraine resources that it put out. Meredith O'Brien's one of the teachers that is using these guides in her classroom.
But I also think on a deeper level, that is part of what I believe is so important about a history education and a solid history education, again, to help students move towards that place of understanding of who they are in the world and what their role is as an individual in the world today.
She says that she wants her students to understand the historical context of how we got to where we are today in Ukraine.
I also want them to leave with an understanding of the people who are responding to this, whether at a level of sort of individual action or more collective action. So individuals or nations, that there are people who are responding to this, and in particular looking at the refugee crisis and understanding why it's important that we respond to that.
Now you can check out the materials at facinghistory.org under the Educator Resources. Now, the ability to meet with a therapist virtually has made getting care more accessible during the pandemic. The rules are changing, though. Next in our lineup, we're taking a look into the efforts to make sure that you can continue to see a counselor no matter where they're based.
Well, fortunately, we're kicking off the first month of May a little bit better than our neighbors to the north are dealing with, at least tonight. Taking a look at our clouds and radar, you'll see we really lucked out. The bulk of that system that's bringing severe weather tonight across the country, moving through Oklahoma, portions of northern Texas, and the state of Oklahoma under a severe thunderstorm warning as that system makes its way across the area. What can we expect going forward here at home? Well, it's going to be on the calmer side of things. Mostly cloudy across the area as we head overnight. Those lows are going to land close to the low 70s, so on the milder side of things, there is a chance we could see a stray shower, maybe even a storm as we head into the first portion of your morning, and we're going to be warm once again. Here's a look at our future track, and you'll notice cloud cover building in overnight. We're going to see that spotty chance of showers continue, and that's just going to stream across the area as we head towards Tuesday afternoon. Now, it looks like we're going to get a little bit of a break in the action, but then you'll notice by Tuesday evening, it's going to return once again. So we're really doing kind of a rinse and repeat, or going back to back in terms of what we can expect for our forecast the next couple of days. Lows, as I mentioned, in the low 70s for the most part, and then our highs tomorrow, you'll notice will be cooler towards our northwest, warmer the further south you go, with those highs generally landing in the upper 80s here in the Brazos Valley. Here's a look at our 10-day forecast to give you an idea of what we can expect going forward. The next few days, you're definitely going to want to stay weather aware. It looks like we're going to have that chance for showers, maybe even some storms the next 3 days. Thursday looks like it's going to be the best as we go forward. And then take a look as we go towards Mother's Day. High temperatures really on the warm side, close to that mid-90 mark. 94 on Saturday, 95 on Sunday. The good news is it looks like we're going to stay dry, folks. The bad news is, well, more storm and shower chances return as we head into the rest of the week. Overall, it looks like we're lucking out, as we go forward for the rest of the night. A quick reminder, the last day for early voting is Tuesday. That's tomorrow from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. in this month's special election. Election day is May 7th. Brazos County residents can vote for 2 state propositions and 2 Brazos County propositions. Those regard service districts number 3 and 4 and concern the local and used sales tax. For those who want to participate in early voting for the election, voters need to make sure they're already registered and they have a valid form of identification. In other news, nearly 6 months after the remains were discovered in northern Harris County, now the county sheriff's office is reporting those remains are those of Taylor Pomaski, the 29-year-old girlfriend of former NFL player Kevin Ware Jr. Pomaski disappeared following a house party on April 25th, 2021. At the time, her boyfriend, Kevin Ware, was out on a bond on an unrelated charge until his arrest in June after failing to appear for supervision. Ware now remains in custody in Montgomery County without bond.
Figuring out time of death from remains can be tough for investigators, but it is critical for solving missing persons cases. Chloe Nordquist shows us how we're learning the protein inside of our bones could give a more definite answer even decades after death.
31's fragmented and 32 is good.
These skeletons may have been out in the field for 1 year, 3 years, or various time periods.
1 in 16.
At the Southeast Texas Applied Forensic Science Facility, Researchers use bodies donated by families to advance forensic science, looking at factors surrounding decomposition and death. But figuring out an accurate time of death on skeletal remains has been a struggle in many cases. Now that's changing.
And at the moment, there is no reliable method to be able to determine time since death of bones.
After a certain point of decomposition, why is it difficult to figure out the time of death?
After that time, when all the soft tissues have decomposed and have gone, all we're left with the skeletal remains and the bones there, and they don't decompose in a very predictable pattern.
We all know investigators use DNA to help solve that puzzle, but even DNA can be too damaged after a while, which is why researchers like Naomi Procopio have turned to other indicators. She's in the UK, but is working on the research with Cherie Hughes here in the US.
We are looking at biomolecules in bones, such as DNA, proteins, lipids, and metabolites. When you put together all these results, you can then try to develop methods to estimate either the chronological age or the postmortem interval by combining multiple omics together.
Our role here in Naomi's research is to provide her with the skeletal samples that she needs for her project.
This is how it works. Bone samples from a range of skeletons are sent from the body lab to Naomi's lab. After promising results from animal bones, Naomi was able to start research on human bones.
So far, I sampled more than 100 different portions of bones.
This footage provided to us by Northumbria University, Newcastle in England shows Naomi and her colleagues taking bone fragments and using technology to separate each biomolecule.
The next step in the study will be combining them together to see if they can help, feed information one into the other one to get better estimations. Any kind of improvement in the way in which we can get an estimation will be a massive achievement.
An estimated 4,400 unidentified bodies are recovered each year. Approximately 1,000 of those bodies remain unidentified after 1 year.
Having a precise estimation of the age of a person and understanding when exactly that person died can be extremely beneficial for getting information on missing individuals and unidentified remains.
It's really exciting because it's an area of the puzzle or a piece of the puzzle that we don't have.
The team still have a few years of research ahead, but results look promising.
The end goal is to solve more cases, be able to identify more missing persons, identify skeletons, be able to, provide investigators with information they didn't have, so we can solve more cases and bring closure to more families.
I'm Chloe Nordquist, reporting.
A life-altering diagnosis uncovered by a simple trip to the doctor's office. Now a longtime high school track coach is on a mission to raise awareness about the lung cancer which almost killed him. Chris Conti follows him along on his journey.
It's warm and sunny.
The only thing Aaron Hawkins loads more than heat are hills.
I solve all the life's problems on a nice long run.
Such as this track coach's lifelong love-hate relationship with running.
Morning, how are you? Excellent.
To appreciate where Aaron Hawkins is headed, though, is to understand how far he has come.
My first Boston. This one right here was my fastest marathon. There's memories in all of them, right?
This 49-year-old has run dozens of marathons over the years, but in 2019 was stopped short in his tracks.
And I was Aaron's surgeon, correct.
Dr. Jonathan Nesbitt was one of the first people to utter the words, "It's cancer."
The unusual nature about Aaron was the fact that he was a picture of health. You would never suspect that he would have a malignancy.
Turns out that cancer was adenocarcinoma, which accounts for 30 to 40% of all lung cancers nationwide, and never would have been found had Aaron's wife not implored him to get a physical.
I had to remove half of his lung because of the location of the tumor.
It's just, I run out of breath.
I encouraged him after he recovered to resume his full and usual lifestyle as much as he could.
For 47 years, I could draw a deep breath and it would go to here. Well, now I'm missing somebody, so the deep breath only goes to here. And that's a weird feeling.
A simple trip to the doctors saved his life. It's been a long road back, and Aaron is now hoping other men his age see this story as a wake-up call.
Don't ignore it. Get your checkups. You know what? An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure.
Not wanting to be bound by any of this, there is a finish line in Aaron's sight, trying to complete 50 marathons by his 50th birthday.
I just want to see him accomplish something that very few people will accomplish.
And accomplish he did. Amid tens of thousands of people in Nashville recently, all chasing their own goals, there was Aaron. We forgot to mention that Aaron also has MS, making it hard to regulate his body temperature on hot days like these. But he finished.
Congratulations. Proud of you.
Greeted by both his family and his surgeon.
That was his question when everything happened. Will he be able to run a marathon again?
This was not the fastest race Aaron Hawkins has ever run, but it is still a finish line he is grateful to have crossed.
It's cliche, but it's counting the blessings. I mean, it really is.
In Nashville, Tennessee, I'm Chris Condon.
Chris, thank you. And there is so much going on in the world, it may be hard to pin down exactly what is wearing on your mental health. Last in our lineup today, we are addressing how finances could be playing a role and what you can do about it. If you're feeling a little off lately, don't underestimate the impact of finances. Nearly half of adults say money is negatively impacting their mental health. Bankrate and Psych Central are working together to explore this as inflation certainly, but also you just think of continuing pandemic struggles just collide right now. People say they're worried, they're anxious, overwhelmed, also feeling insecure. And it's tied to more than just bills and having enough money, even just making a simple purchase, looking at your bank account, or just having a conversation with a friend about money can trigger all of those negative emotions. The key, they say, is addressing both financial and mental health strains.
Low self-esteem, changes or disruptions in sleep, less interest in things you enjoy, fatigue, feelings of hopelessness. Those are all kind of red flags that, you should possibly seek support.
There's thinking about money, and there's engaging in sound financial practices, and there's worrying about money and losing sleep, to say the least. And so I think when we get into those negative experiences, that is when there is a problem.
Both financial and mental health experts agree acknowledging financial stressors is key, but oftentimes there are a lot of secrecy and shame issues associated with money, and they say you can really only focus on what you can control.
One of the things we love to recommend on Psych Central is just filling your joy cup, with ways that are low cost. Take a walk, go get some exercise, practice breathing techniques.
Look, all of this is really hard. Psych Central does recommend some low-cost mental health therapies. There are psychologists in training that you can find. Do a Google search for that. Community care options are also available through a lot of local organizations. Now, other than cutting back on spending, Bankrate recommends leveraging the strong job market. See if there are other options out there that could be good for you. Not only just for higher pay, but maybe a lifestyle that you find more rewarding or more flexible, like the ability to work remote and have a schedule that's flexible. Now, some rural communities are saying in some ways the pandemic was actually a good thing for them. Tomorrow, we'll take a look at how they're shifting the focus from promoting business to making their communities a better place to live instead.
And thank you so much for tuning in tonight. Jimmy Kimmel is up next. Good Morning Texas is on the air tomorrow at 5 a.m. with Paige Ellenberger. Thanks for joining us. Have a great night.